Welcome to Speak Your Truth, a podcast created to promote self-awareness and unlock your potential, giving you the strength to live your truth.
So, hey guys, we're back with Speak Your Truth. I got Aaron Brinkley back on the line. We missed him. We missed him last week, and he's back above water. Moved into his new house, which is super exciting, by the beach.
Oh yeah, the whole place smells like banana boat suntan. I didn't tell you that earlier. It actually smells really good.
That's awesome. So this is Ryan LeDuc, and
This is Aaron Brinkley.
And we're bringing you Speak Your Truth. We've had a few episodes already, and we've been talking about all kinds of personal growth and trying to create a community that everybody can lean on each other and realize that sometimes you just can't do it alone. There's times where you have to just hit it by yourself and get in the trenches, but there's a lot of times where you can just lean on a friend, lean on someone that has been through what you've gone through or is going through what you're going through at the moment.
I know you and I both, through our lives and situations, have had friends, mentors, people that have either helped to guide us to these steps or these answers, or to help us through like the hard times, help bring us clarity on what we're learning and figuring out. I know, like you said, a lot of the journey ends up being internal, and it's really about understanding yourself and connecting with yourself, source or God, or however you want to put that. But I know for me, like mentors, like a community of people that I've worked with before, or friends and family, have been key to me taking that next step or getting to that next level, and then helping to sustain myself throughout that process too, because ignorance is bliss. I'm sure everybody's kind of heard that before.
Oh yeah.
And once you start to establish some awareness, especially self-awareness, like it's a little bit of a harsher reality to begin with and a lot to deal with, and then taking that responsibility for yourself, your actions, and then anything and everything else around you and how you react to that is it's a lot to bear, especially initially. So it's always nice to have other people to talk to or to hear from, to basically remind you that you're not alone.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of power in that, because when you're the lone nut screaming from the rooftops that something great can happen and no one else is around to back you up, you're just a lone nut, and that can really weigh on a person's psyche, and they end up giving up. I actually had a conversation with a guy that we're going to be interviewing shortly. He said that he had all these dreams and aspirations, but there was nobody supporting him. Everybody thought he was crazy because he was too shy, quote unquote. I don't believe anybody is anything without them deciding that they are that thing. There's a lot of people that will tell them who they are, but you can't let other people define who you are. You have to put yourself in a position that best suits who you are. And the cool thing about what he said was, he said, I've been looking for people that can understand me. That's what we're here for. Like, he said that to me, and I said, you gotta be on my show, because other people need to hear your story, because you're reaching out. That's the hardest part, is the reach out part, is to actually say, I can't do it by myself, I need some help, can you help me? And creating this community is putting people in the position where that's a possible thing.
But yeah, I think the whole premise is the power's in your own story. Like, everybody's got that little bit of a twist and their own thing to tell, and if people don't accept that story and like accept themselves and get that out there, I feel like they just diminish their power. Your personal story is the whole point of all this, like that uniqueness to it, the uniqueness to who you are. Most people get washed out by all this generic bullshit, and they're always like caught up in what they think they should be doing versus who they are. And I feel like the guy you mentioned, it's kind of heartbreaking to think that someone's afraid to kind of tell their own story especially when they're struggling or looking for help or for guidance. Like, our world's kind of come to that, where people are almost afraid to be unique and find their own way and doing their own thing. That we're all getting plugged into these like cookie cutter roles or like situations and shit. Dude, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's the fastest way to like live a dead life.
For sure. Well, it's not your own.
Yeah, like
it's something someone else told you should be doing.
And especially when you try to reach out, like when you're trying to reach out and then someone else says you can't, you find justifications to kind of explain to the world why you don't. And everybody just, oh yeah, that makes sense because, you know, you don't talk that well, or you don't present that well, or, you know, you don't know how to voice your opinion, or whatever it happens to be. And the thing that I've learned in my journey is that is your uniqueness. Whatever you're not good at and whatever you are good at, that recipe put together is your uniqueness. And like, once it's understood and socially acceptable that that is what it needs to be, then other people looking at it, they won't think, hey, this guy's not good at this, so why is he doing it? They think, hey, this guy has a very unique vision of what this is. Maybe he's going to change the whole face of how this is supposed to be done. That's what should be done. Like, that's how whole systems change. That's, you know, like you said it perfectly. The power is in your uniqueness. When you have the confidence to show your weakness, then other people see you show your weakness, and now they're comfortable showing their weakness, and then everybody can show their weakness. And that once you can put yourself out there, that's where you find your special gift. And we go full circle again. That's why we're doing this podcast, because I was that guy. You know, I was that guy working at a full-time job thinking, man, I got to get better at this and I got to get better at that before I can do something like this. And I was lucky enough to have a close friend look me square in the eye and say, you are doing it the way you were designed to do it. Don't try to change it. Just get better at how you do it. And that kind of blew my mind. That sent me on a 10-year journey of learning how to be better at who I am, not try to be someone different, because I was trying to live in a shell of a person that wasn't who I was, and it was hurting because my blueprint didn't line up with what I was doing. But there's very few that are lucky like that. I had that. Very few people have that. Those
right.
are the flash in the pan people that are going to lift you up. That's why there's only so many mentors in the world, and there's so many people looking for mentors, because they don't have that mindset. So if we could create the kind of mentality where it's okay to be different, it's okay to go the opposite direction of the crowd and not be called the nut, we're going to create some pretty powerful people in this world. And not that we've created them, but we've almost set up a system that gives them permission to go out and fail and then be lifted up, because other people in this community is going to want those people to do well. Everybody's going to want you to go and succeed. And it's tough though, because when they go home in their family and their home life, those are the people that are going to be the dream killers. That's how it was in my house when I was growing up. They didn't do it on purpose. They were just trying to protect me.
Well, everybody's always afraid, and from that fear, they will take their fear and put it on you. One of the main reasons I don't live around my family anymore is I love them to death, but it feels like so rooted in their complacency, and like, this is who we are, this is what we're worth almost.
Yeah.
Not to say that, I mean, they all think like that, but it's a clearly kind of a mainstay where like everybody's got their comfort level, right? That zone that they're willing to live within, and I wasn't comfortable with that. And I've gone through some ups and some downs and some struggles to kind of figure out who I am, where I'm at, what I want to do. But I would have much rather gone this route and done this instead of going to college, getting the job, having the family, making the kids, like this whole mundane situation, and never asking like why or questioning about more. And not to say that they're not successful people or they're not happy. They may be completely happy doing that, but I clearly wasn't. And I know there's other people out there that aren't either. And I just don't want people to be afraid to be themselves and to be unique and to chase those dreams. Like, our world would not be what it is today without those nutty people, those crazy, awkward people that are a little different than everybody else and aren't generic in the typical norm. Life would be so boring if everybody was exactly the same, so mundane and black and white, no shades of gray or color at all.
The term is, I think, outliers. It's actually a book. I'm not sure who the author is. I'll have to look it up and I'll put it in the description. But the world needs outliers. That's how this world was built. Like, every single person that migrated to the Americas was an outlier. You know, they said they had a dream, they took a risk, they showed up, they suffered, they went through all the process of becoming successful in a new land. And the opportunities that we're given now is what we should be able to do is be an outlier because we're founded by outliers. And there's so many corporations out there that will hire someone and put them in a position, and then their gift just kind of gets squashed because they look at the numbers. We need more entrepreneurs. We need more people out there creating things. And if they have the platform to be able to reach out, because not everybody has that mentality. Obviously, it wouldn't be such a unicorn position to be that successful entrepreneur. Everyone would be an entrepreneur if it was easy. So I think we need to make it a little bit easier for some of the people that have the gift but just don't quite know how to deliver it. So if we can help teach that with some of these steps and help them come up with their particular custom-made recipe of those steps, there can be some amazing things happening in this world.
Well, I just want to put a little bit of a disclaimer too. Like, I just want people to understand that we're not trying to tell people they all should be big major CEOs of these big massive companies and make billions of dollars or anything crazy. Like, it's not about that. It's about living true to yourself, true to your potential, and genuinely being happy and joyful consistently. Because you always hear the phrase, if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Oh yeah.
Well, a lot of people aren't going out and trying to figure out what that job would be or creating that job or that position. I know that's something it's taken me a while to kind of understand, that you get this idea that for me to go out and be successful is to become an entrepreneur and make this super successful business. Well, it's not. Like, I know plenty of people that own their own businesses that they work enough to pay the bills and to be happy and to be comfortable. And that's where they're at. That's where they're happy with, which is awesome. My big thing is that they're happy consistently every day. There's a lady I met down here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Her name is Janine Young. And she quit her job to open up her own food truck. And she struggled to pay her bills for like 6 months to get the thing rolling. And she's still, like, she's just skating by. But she is the most happy person I've ever met because she's doing exactly what she wants to do. And no one can tell her any different. And her food is delicious, by the way.
Yeah, living on her terms, like deciding to do something because she wants to do it.
Right.
And that's like that's the disconnect. If you work for a corporation and what you want to do is you want to be a cashier and you want to help people check out as quickly as possible, and that's what fires you up, and it gets you out of bed, and you're pumped up, and you love talking to people, and you just want to be a part of it, and then you want to be able to go home and just spend time with your kids and not worry about the business after that, and that's your happy place. Awesome. That's the kind of power that I want every single person to be able to have, to be able to make that decision based on the decision, not on I have to make $1 to pay the bills. I'm doing this because I love to do it. And it's so spot on with that disclaimer. It's really happiness. Like, you'll never wish you worked more, but you'll always wish you had more time to do the things that you want to do. So as long as you're doing what you want to do, that's the gift.
Right. Like I was just at a sales conference, a meeting for work yesterday, and one of the things the guy mentioned was he called out people on wanting to be bartenders, and you could see on his face like he almost had to eat his words, because we're sitting there at this restaurant and bar, and there's a bartender sitting right over there, and the only thing he could say to kind of save himself, he's like, I don't want to be a bartender, but if you want to be a bartender, that's what you should be doing. And it was almost like you could tell like he knew he kind of messed up in the way he phrased that, because I know a lot of people that really, really enjoy being a bartender. I mean, you get to talk to people consistently, people from all walks of life. They're giving something or providing a service to people that they want. And some people can get a lot of joy out of that. Now, like you said, the whole point is, if that's what you want to do, let's work towards that and let's do that. So happiness over necessity, I guess.
Yeah, because when your goal is to make money, it'll never be good enough, because there's always more. Like, I ask people all the time, how much money do you want to make? And they say more. And I say, okay, so if I give you $1, will you be happy? And they say, well, that's not fair. And I said, well, you just said you want more. Like, find your happy, know it, write it down, be very specific with it. And once you find your happy, once you get there, and if you're not happy, then you need to readjust and figure out what actually makes you happy. Because once you find out what makes you happy, then you start to really think and get creative with what you really want to do. Because I think if anybody out there right now is listening, if I say, hey, if you could do any job in the world and you don't have to worry about money, you have all the money you need, what would you do? I want to say 50% of those people will have zero answer. They will not know what they want to do, because they only have the one mindset of I have to work to pay bills. If they can have a mindset where they can work and do the thing they love in life and not worry about money, that's where you find you're happy. That's where you find your consistent flow of dopamine that hits you on a daily basis, and that's the happy.
Well, that's where everybody's working backwards. They put money ahead of the happiness. Where what they got to understand is that happiness, that passion that goes along with whatever it is that they're doing, and putting themselves and that passion into that is what will lead to the money that they so desperately need to create. And it's not to say that it's easy or it's just like this magic formula that happens overnight. I mean, there's a lot of hard work that's going to go into it, especially if it's something that no one else has ever done. But if you're legitimately passionate about that, it's amazing how much you'll be able to create and the steps you're willing to take to make that a reality, and how quickly that actual process could be for you if you wanted it that bad.
Yeah, well, it's like we talked about before with Warren Buffett and compound interest, that it can work for you or against you, and you'd be surprised how quickly it can work when you're just doing it because it's a habit. You know, a year from now, you have a habit doing one particular thing. A year from now, it's just your new normal.
Right.
And it's pretty powerful at that.
Well, everything we've talked about goes back into these steps that we've kind of outlined in our first initial episodes. Like, we don't talk about them for no reason. Like, they're all built and they're set in line to kind of slowly walk you into thinking big picture like this, and taking back control of your life, basically. So yeah. I just like the idea that me and you have the chance to kind of get that information out there. And then I'm really excited as we go forward to start to bring people along that have already gone through this process, or that we're helping in the middle of this process, and can give their own truths and how it's worked out for them. And I really encourage anybody else that's listening to this to reach out to us or anybody else in our community and share your message, man. Whether it is you're going through the struggle already, or you have questions, or you've already gone through a major trial and you just want to get your story out there. Like, I'm telling you right now, we want to hear it. And it's not just us, it's everybody else that we're involved with, everybody else that listens to this podcast. I'm really excited to do these interviews, and like, we're not the only ones that understand these tools and these steps, and we're not the only ones that have applied them in our lives. And they're kind of universal truths, you know, like this shit's real. Once you can kind of start to change the way you think and kind of prioritize yourself over the rest of the world and what the rest of the world thinks, it's amazing what can happen.
Yeah, and just to throw a little plug out there, you can actually reach us at speakyourtruth2019@gmail.com. I believe that's attached to this particular podcast, so if it's not, then I'll check it and make sure. But speakyourtruth2019@gmail.com. Reach out, questions. You know, what part of these steps is your favorite? What have you gone through? What can you share? Is there anything in your life that you think you can share and help someone else on their journey? There's got to be people out there that are dying to share their story. I talk to people on a regular basis. I already have 2 interviews lined up to be on this particular podcast, and I got 2 or 3 more interviews to do this week to next week, and I'm going to start loading them up and sharing their story. And I guarantee you these stories are going to be powerful, and they're going to help someone, at least one. You know,
and to everyone else out there that may not believe it, your story has power. Your story is meaningful, and we would love to hear it. Like, don't let anybody ever discredit you or your life. Like, not everybody's journey is all sunshine and rainbows. I know mine definitely wasn't, and it isn't always that way now. But the whole idea is what you've done, what you've gone through, or what you're going through. It all means something, and we just want to be here to support you in that and support others with it.
Yeah, it's one large support system. So this was Speak Your Truth, and if you have any thoughts, if you have anything of value to add, I definitely think you should email us, speakyourtruth2019@gmail.com.
Hit us up on Instagram too. Don't forget about that.
Ooh, I almost forgot about Instagram. Thanks, man. Speak Your Truth 101. Speak Your Truth 101 with the same emblem. We have started that, and that's really cool. Hit us
Slide
up there.
our DMs.
Yeah. I'm learning all this stuff, man. I'm getting pretty good at it.
Hip to the game.
Yeah. So this is Ryan LeDuc
And Aaron Brinkley.
with Speak
Your
Truth.
Thanks for joining us. If this message has moved you in any way, all we ask is you take 3 steps. 1, take action. 2, tell a friend.
And always speak
Your
truth.